Well, this is unprecedented in history. China will build a space launch site in Djibouti, which will become the space center of the Middle East. China-Hong Kong Aerospace Science and Technology Group signed a memorandum of understanding with the government of the Republic of Djibouti on January 9 to jointly develop the Djibouti spaceport. In the South China Sea, there are also islands at the same latitude as Djibouti. So, why did China go to Africa to build a launch site? Hi! Welcome to Hot Topics Time, and let's move on to today's topic. 1. China will build a launch site in Djibouti. The latitude advantage is quite obvious. China and Djibouti will jointly develop the Djibouti spaceport, and the local government will not only be responsible for providing land, but will also fully cooperate with related projects. The Memorandum of Understanding signed this time not only involves the construction of 7 satellite launch pads and 3 rocket test beds, but also includes supporting projects such as power stations, water plants, aerospace ports, and roads. The scope is quite extensive. The construction period of the spaceport will take at least 5 years. The local government expects that the spaceport project will bring hundreds of millions of dollars in economic returns and bring thousands of technology-related jobs to the local people. Moreover, this will further promote regional international cooperation, while enhancing the status of China-Hong Kong Aerospace Science and Technology Group in international commercial aerospace. 2. The advantages of the Djibouti spaceport: low latitude, with the help of the speed of the Earth's rotation. Djibouti is located on the west coast of the Gulf of Aden in northeastern Africa. Most of the country is desert and resource poor. However, Djibouti guards the throat of the Red Sea, and its strategic position is quite important. Many countries around the world have established military bases in Djibouti. The largest base of the U.S. military in Africa is located in Djibouti, and it is also the largest base of France stationed abroad. The Japanese Self-Defense Force also has a base in Djibouti, and China has also established the only overseas support base in Djibouti. One of the important reasons for China to establish a spaceport in Djibouti is that the country's geographical latitude is only 11 degrees to 13 degrees, which is lower than the 19 degrees of the Space Launch Center in Wenchang, Hainan, China. In addition, countries around the world have invested in the construction of low-latitude space launches, such as the Kourou Space Center in South America, the San Marcos Space Launch Site in Africa, and the Sriharikota Launch Site in India. An important reason for building a space launch site at low latitudes is that the speed of the Earth's rotation can be used to accelerate space launches. For example, the linear velocity of the Earth's rotation on the equator is about 460 meters per second, while it is 0 at the poles. A rocket needs to accelerate a satellite to about 7.8 kilometers per second to enter low Earth orbit. If it is launched eastward at the equator, then the rocket only needs to accelerate to 7.3 kilometers per second, because the Earth's rotation will accelerate at a speed of about 0.46 kilometers per second. This saves a lot of fuel and also allows for higher mass loads. That's why Russia leased a launch site in French Guiana, because the latitude of this area is only 24 degrees. In addition, Russia also established a final assembly workshop here. However, the Soyuz rocket in French Guiana after the Russia-Ukraine war was detained by France, which made the Russian space agency very furious. The purpose of China's construction of a spaceport in Djibouti may not only be low latitude, because Djibouti does not have many advantages except for the low latitude advantage. Moreover, when it comes to launching spacecraft, low latitude sometimes becomes a disadvantage. 3. Djibouti launch site, cooperation in the Middle East, and it may become a space center in the Middle East. What we must understand is the location of Djibouti. In fact, in addition to the advantage of low latitude, there are still many problems. If it is launched in Djibouti, the first stage rocket will fall in Somalia when launching the LO/GTO satellite, and the SSO satellite in sun-synchronous orbit will fall in Ethiopia/Kenya. Although the projected trajectory of the launch path will try to choose uninhabited areas, and these areas are semi-desert or even desert areas, but the first stage rocket that launches the satellite falls on others' land, which will indeed cause some inconvenience. Of course, China must communicate with these surrounding countries whether to allow the first stage and second stage rockets launched to fall on their land. However, these surrounding countries are traditional friendly countries of China. To build a space launch site in Djibouti, it is estimated that only China can handle all these surrounding countries. In addition, China is still developing recyclable rockets. If the first stage rocket can fly back to the launch site, then the fall path of the first stage rocket is nothing at all. Well, a launch site, using this level of communication scale, is not a bit of a storm in a teacup? Combining this news with a previous summit in December, it seems that things will gradually become clear. On December 9, the first China-Arab States Summit was held in Riyadh, the capital of Saudi Arabia. The Chinese president went to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia from December 7 to 10 to attend the first China-Arab States Summit and pay a state visit to Saudi Arabia. The development of Sino-Arab relations usher in a new milestone. On the previous September 6, Wu Yanhua, deputy administrator of the China National Space Administration, led a delegation to visit the Rashid Space Center in the United Arab Emirates and held talks with Director Al-Mari. They conducted in-depth exchanges on China-Arab space cooperation and signed a memorandum of understanding on the cooperation of the Chang'e 7 mission. Although no details were disclosed, it is reported that China will provide assistance for the UAE's lunar rover to land on the moon. The tasks will be implemented successively within the next 10 years. We also note that the launch of lunar exploration will basically be at Hainan Wenchang Space Launch Center, but for some commercial launches from the Middle East, it can be solved nearby, and the launch center in Djibouti is likely to pave the way for the future Middle East Space Center. According to a December 2022 commercial aerospace market research report by Future Market Insights Incorporated, the global small satellite market is expected to thrive at a strong CAGR of 15.3%. By 2033, the market size will exceed $55.9 billion. Among them, emerging economies such as India and China will grow the fastest, but the aerospace ambitions of Middle Eastern countries should not be underestimated. The cooperation between China and Djibouti began in 2010. After that, China promoted the construction of the Addis Ababa-Djibouti Railway and diverted water from Ethiopia to Djibouti, which solved the major problem of Djibouti's water source and built an economic free trade for Djibouti. Districts and new cities have attracted many companies to invest and directly created more than 100,000 jobs. In 2016, China's support base in Djibouti started construction, and it will be officially put into use on August 1, 2017. At present, it will build a space center in Djibouti. I believe this is inseparable from the all-round protection provided by the Chinese security base in Djibouti. The cooperation between China and Djibouti has entered the deep water area. I wish the construction of the Djibouti Space Center will go smoothly and serve the people of the Middle East as soon as possible. Okay, that's all for today. Please put your comments below and share your insightful ideas with other people. Thank you so much for your continuous support. Your precious time with us is highly appreciated. Hot Topics time to explore the wisdom behind the news. We will see you in the next video.